Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Amber and welcome to another day of No Sleep Halloween Creep Week 2018. So basically I have been uploading a video every single day and I will continue to do so until Halloween. So you get 7 consecutive uploads on my channel. So today I have another very mysterious Halloween disappearance. So this one happened a long time ago. This is the disappearance of 2-year-old Stephen Damon. He went missing on October 31st, 1955. This case is very old. If Stephen was alive today, he would actually be 65 years old. Unfortunately, there is even less information about this case than there was of the case that I recently covered of the disappearance of Cindy Song. But again, I think it's important to cover cases that are very old, even cases that don't have a ton of information, and cases that are coming up on their, I hate to say the word anniversary, but you know, obviously Halloween is coming up again, and so I think it's important to remind people about people that have gone missing, even if it's been decades. And very much like Cindy's case, you know, Stephen has an unresolved case. Nobody knows what happened to him, and his case is just as mysterious as Cindy's because he again disappeared in the middle of nowhere. But well, let's get into the case details because this is a very interesting case, albeit very minimal information. So before I get into the case details, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and turn on your post notifications, and that way you are notified the moment another one of my videos goes up. Obviously this is Halloween week, so you're getting a video every day for 7 days up until Halloween. After that, you know, it would be nice for you to turn on notifications so that you know the next time I post another video. Also, if you do like when I upload and you're interested in more cases like this, please be sure to thumbs up this video and let me know in the comments down below any other cases you want me to try and cover, as well as I always like to know your guys' opinions. Okay. So let's get into the mysterious disappearance of Stephen Damon. So Stephen went missing from East Meadow, which is a city in New York. So Stephen was born on December 15th, 1952 in New York. So at the time of his disappearance, Stephen was 3'2" and he only weighed 32 pounds. Obviously he was a 2-year-old boy. And by the way, he went missing in broad daylight. So I feel like daytime abductions are almost a little bit more unsettling just because it means that the abductor was so confident and so just like arrogant in his movements that he did it in the middle of the day, in the middle of a busy street. So the last thing that Stephen was wearing, and I'll get into what happened leading up to his disappearance, but he was wearing a lot of red, white, and blue. Basically, he had blue overalls, or also known as dungarees. He had on a blue polo shirt. On top of the blue polo shirt, he was wearing a red sweater, and on the red sweater, there were blue and white ships imprinted on the front of it, and he also had little brown shoes on. So at the time of his disappearance, he did have a very notable medical condition. He was getting treatment for a growth that was on his kidney. So Stephen had blonde hair and blue eyes. He was a male. Some distinguishing facts about Stephen beside the medical treatment that he was undergoing is he had a scar underneath his chin, and he had a birthmark on the back of his left calf that resembled a mole. On his left arm, he had a fracture that was healing, and he walked with his toes turned out. Stephen's nickname was Stevie, and they did spell his full name as Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N. So at the time of his disappearance, Stephen was actually with his mother and his sister. They were at a supermarket in East Meadow in New York, and this was, like I said, on October 31st, 1955. So this supermarket was located a block and a half away from his home, and he was at the supermarket with his mother and his 7-month-old sister. One thing that is a little strange to me about this case, now I do know it was a different time. 1955, people weren't as worried about kidnappings and just the things that we're worried about today. And sometimes parents would leave their children unattended for various amounts of time, for small amounts of time, and typically everything was fine when they did that. But unfortunately for Stephen, In this case, his mother left him and his sister unattended for about 10 minutes. I guess his sister was in a carriage and his mother left them unattended, and she went inside to shop for bread. When she came out 10 minutes later, both of the children were missing. But the strange thing about this is his 7-month-old sister was recovered a few blocks away from where his mother had left the both of them. So whoever took both of the children decided to only take Stephen and left his sister a few blocks away in her carriage, which they found her later on. And after that, Stevie was never seen again. So in late November of that year, a college student wrote the family about 3 letters demanding money for the safe return of Stephen. So basically they were asking for ransom money. They were saying that they would safely return him for $10,000. The first letter asked for $3,000, the second letter asked for $10,000, and the third letter asked for $14,000. And this was all going to be in exchange for the safe return of Stephen. After they investigated where these letters came from, they figured out that this student had nothing to do with Stephen's disappearance, and it was merely a college student who was trying to turn this into an opportunity for themselves and make some money. But they had nothing to do with the abduction of the both children and then ultimately Stephen. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the case of a John Doe, basically the boy in the box. I've never covered that case on my channel, but many YouTubers have. If you're curious, you can just type in boy in the box and a lot of different videos will surface about this little boy. But basically, a little boy was found and he's been unable to be identified. Now, the crazy thing is a lot of people first thought that this little boy was actually Stephen because they shared a lot of similar characteristics. But the things that they did not share was the little boy in the box did not have the same fracture on his arm like Stephen had. It was suggested that Stephen might be the boy in the box or America's unknown child, a small boy who was found dead inside a cardboard box in Philadelphia in 1957. So the similarities that they both shared was they both had blonde hair and blue eyes, and they actually had some of the same scars, but the unidentified boy did not have a healed arm fracture as Stephen had, and Stephen's footprints taken when he was a baby did not match that of America's child, aka the boy in the box. So in 2003, because back then DNA was not a huge thing, so they didn't really think to test the unidentified child's DNA with that of his sister to see if there was a match. But in 2003 they finally did test that, and they were able to solidly rule out that the boy in the box was Stephen. So, I mean, I know a lot of people really wanted it to be a match so that they would have an answer for the grieving family of the missing child, and also an identity for this little, baby John Doe, basically. But unfortunately, they were not a match. And there has been so many attempts to identify this little boy in the box, but even so, the child remains unidentified as of today. And we're in 2018. And this little boy was found in 1957. So little Stephen was originally from Iowa, and his father was in the Air Force in 1955. But after his little son went missing, he did get out of the Air Force because he was really depressed, as you can imagine, losing a child. His father left the Air Force a few months after Stephen's abduction, and the family returned to Iowa. So they moved from New York back to Iowa, where they were originally from. Sadly, his parents were divorced in 1957, and both of them later remarried. His father lives in Iowa to this day and has had 2 sons by his second marriage, and his mother now lives in Missouri. In 2009, there was a man in Michigan who claimed to be Stephen.
One of the longest unsolved kidnapping cases in the country. In 1955, a toddler was snatched outside a store in Long Island, New York. Now, 54 years later, a grown man has come forward to say he may be that missing child. In 1955, Marilyn Damon stopped at a local grocery store to pick up a loaf of bread. She left her son, Steve, and his baby sister Pamela outside the store. When she came out, Pamela was still in her carriage, but Steve had vanished. Authorities launched a massive search. The military was even brought in to help. But sadly for Steve's distraught family, all leads turned up empty. Throughout the 54 years since Steve went missing, there have been reported sightings of him all over the country, but nothing has come as close as this. A Michigan man, John Barnes, claims he is Steve Damon and that he has the evidence to prove it. Like the 3-year-old Steve, he has a scar on the right side of his face and a dime-sized mole on his right calf. He says he learned about the kidnapping on the internet, and it all made sense, having always harbored suspicions about his past. On her deathbed, he claims his mother suggested she wasn't his biological parent. Preliminary blood work suggests that John could in fact be Steve, but the FBI urges caution until the final DNA results are released. After spending over half a century asking questions, the next few weeks could provide a final answer for the Damon family. And here with us now is Pamela Horn, who has been waiting for more than 5 decades to meet the brother who vanished from her side that day. Do you believe that this could possibly be your brother?
Yes, I believe it possibly could be my brother.
Do you see any kind of resemblance when you look at him, when you see yourself? Do you see any kind of family resemblance?
Yes. I mean, just, you know, talking that we have done, and I think we had a bond because we both had lost siblings.
He believed that he was actually this missing child, and there was a lot of speculation about this, but he finally did undergo testing in 2009, and they did DNA testing, and again, similar to the little boy in the box, this man was not the missing child. This was not Stephen Damon. The man who actually thought that he was Stephen himself, his name is John Barnes of Michigan, and he approached the East Meadow, New York City FBI claiming to be the missing boy. But like I said, according to DNA testing, he is not the same boy. DNA samples analyzed by the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, showed John Barnes and Pamela Damon Horn do not share the same mother, the FBI said. All interested parties have been notified of the DNA results. One of the reasons he kind of suspected that he might be the boy is that he does have a birthmark similar to the one that looks like a mole on his leg, and he also has a scar on his chin. Now, while that's kind of weird, it was just a weird coincidence, I guess, because obviously he's not the missing boy. So the entire family was unsure why he believed to be the missing toddler, but again, he thought he had the same scars and mole, and I don't know. But basically, that is it for the disappearance of Stephen. Like I said, it's a very small case, but it's a very mysterious case because, again, when I came across this case, I was baffled. Why would someone go out of their way to kidnap 2 children, a 2-year-old boy and a 7-month-old little girl? And then why would they go through all that trouble to take both kids and then decide to abandon the 7-month-old little girl a few blocks away from where they took her? And also, why would the mother leave the 2 kids outside to go in and get bread? I don't know. Like I said, it was a different time. I'm sure the mom didn't want her kids to be kidnapped, but it is curious sometimes when people do certain things. Like, I don't care how safe a neighborhood is. I wouldn't leave my kids unattended. I wouldn't even leave my dog, you know, outside of a store for 10 minutes because just, I don't know. I just don't think you should leave children and small animals alone, unattended, but that's just me. I cannot find really any other theories online. They have decided this case is considered a non-familial abduction, so that just means they don't think that it's anyone in the immediate family that abducted Stephen and his sister. So obviously this was a case of opportunity. The mom, you know, it's never been said that the parents thought that they were being watched or anything like that. And beside the college student that asked for ransom 3 separate times, there has been nobody else that has came forward with having something to do with this case. But this is an open case, so if you or somebody you know has any information regarding the disappearance of this little boy, please definitely check out the links down below. I will leave any phone numbers and case numbers associated with Stephen's disappearance in the description box down below as always. I do cover these cases with the utmost respect to the family and victims of the cases, and I am just presenting facts to you guys that I can find online, and also any speculation that I have myself. So please let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. I think it's so strange that this happened on Halloween. Again, this had nothing to do with a Halloween case. This was in the daytime outside of a supermarket. I guess back then they didn't have as many cameras either. So it's like the DNA evidence wasn't a big thing back then. Surveillance cameras wasn't a big thing back then. And apparently watching your kids with, you know, both eyes wasn't a big thing back then either. But I think that no matter how old a case is, it deserves recognition. And, you know, I think it deserves to be put back into the public eye. And I don't know, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know your guys' theories down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry this is a shorter video, but I don't want to make up facts just to fill out, you know, the length of a case or a video. But there will be another video tomorrow, so please remember to come back tomorrow and check out another video for my No Sleep Creep Week. And yeah, thank you for watching. Please remember to always be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you guys in my new video, which will be tomorrow. Bye. You can take a simple makeup look. So say you go to work on Halloween and you want to come home and get ready really quick for a party. I'm going to show you a quick way to turn like a basic makeup look into a cute little Halloween look. And so we're just going to do like the little bunny. See how easy that is? Like literally so easy.